Good morning. Well, today we are on our way to the studio. We have a gorgeous Audi RS4 coming in, and what I'm going to do today is actually use this as an opportunity to video and show you guys something that people say can't be done. I've done it. I know of several others that have done it, but the aluminium trim panels on Audis are susceptible to all manner of staining. Sometimes even water can realistically stain them quite badly. Excuse me, but some people say that it is just replacement. You know, they can't be machined or rectified or anything like that. However, I have found a method that works for me. It brings them up pretty much like new. I demonstrated a section to the client excuse me, a few weeks back, and the client was that happy with it that he wants me to go ahead and correct the rest of it. So I've got roof rails to do, the panels above the doors, his wing mirror casings, you know, everything that's got that, you know, that sort of the aluminium trim on it. The only downside of it is, of course, you can increase the gloss levels of it. So there is quite a skill to doing it. And the client of mine is very happy with the way that it looks, and he just wants it done. So I will be filming it today and using this as a bit of an intro to it. So no doubt you'll see this a couple of times, but that's exactly what we're going to be doing today. So I will, you know, I'll be sure to make sure we film everything in as much detail as we can, and using what products we do and everything else. However, for those of you without something like the hybrid nano or its equivalent, which is I think a Proxon, which to be honest is not something I've ever used, but there is an equivalent machine out there, so the methods will still work with that sort of machine, but you do need a small headed machine rather than a you know, your normal sort of anything like your Route 75, LHR 15s, 21s, they're not going to work. So you do need something like a Nano or the Proxon, or I think there's another one called the Shine Mate. Again, not a machine I've really used, but I have heard that, you know, you have the small head capability on them, so they will benefit you well if you want to replicate what I'll be doing in this video. So the next time I see you, I'll be on film with the machine in my hand. Take care, guys. So here we go. This is what I was talking about this morning. This is our Audi RS4 that's in, that has the problem with all the, obviously the aluminium rails and the trims. So what we're going to do, or what I'm going to do, is shoot a video and show you how to do these and how to correct them back. Now, the thing with doing this, it has to be said that this increases gloss. So if your client wants that satin finish, then this isn't advised, because this will increase the gloss levels on these, but it'll also remove all the stain and that sort of thing. So it's critical that obviously you manage your customers' expectations and they know what's going to happen, so they know that when you do this you will increase the gloss levels on it. However, it does give a good finish, and I did it as a tester section on the car with the authority of the client. He's then come back and said, yes, I want this done. Therefore, as you can see, we've got the car in here. So what I'm going to do is grab the camera, give you a look around, show you how bad the car actually is, well, the trims and the process that we've gone through so far, and then I'm going to stick the camera on mount and show you how to correctly get these back to a nice condition that's acceptable, rather than spending thousands on trim panels. So to give you a little walk around the car first, so as you can see on this panel here, you can, if I can get in close enough, there you go, you can see the staining on the aluminium trim here, and then it's the same all the way around the car. The lower trims here, you can see all the staining that appears along here. as you work your way along. They're very sort of flat, there's no real sort of shine or sheen to them as such, and you can see more and more of the staining that appears on the panels. So what we've done is, as you can see, we've masked the car off where we're going to be working, because obviously we're going to be using a machine, so we don't want that machine to catch the paint and strike through any sort of contours on the car. So as you can see, we have well and truly masked the car off. We've also opened the window and removed the wing mirror, because we need to get down to this lower section here, and with the wing mirror in the way you can't adequately get in there to polish it. And of course, as you can see up on the roof, we've bagged the roof up as well, to stop all the fling off from the compound that happens because you're working on such a narrow area. So as you can see, these panels are quite badly stained, or these trims should I say. So what we're going to do is get this camera on a mount, and you can then see exactly what we're doing when we're correcting the car. So one thing I didn't mention on this is exactly what we're using to get this the rails all machined back to a decent condition. So what we have is the Roots Ibid Nano, which, as you can see here, we're using a blue pad, and then we're using some Menzerna fast gloss to give us the cut that we need through this top layer. There is other compounds you could use, but we've tried several. We even tried Roots Blue with this. Roots Blue didn't tend to work too well, so what we're doing is using some fast gloss, because it's got enough cut in it, and works really well with the blue pads to give us a nice sort of refined finish. So as we're doing, just smearing on the compound, and then what we're going to do, make sure you've got your nano all the way up to number 5, and then we start the process. Then what you do, obviously grab your microfiber towel, provided you don't catch the tape. Now you may need a couple of passes, this is just the first initial stage, and then obviously you might need a couple more just to refine it down. So as you can see, this is the condition of it before, and as we move across the panel, this is the condition after. Now this is just a single pass. Further down here there's a bit of ghost in there, so we're going to have to go over that section again. But you can see the drastic difference that can be made to these panels with just a little bit of know-how and machine work. And to be honest, the gloss levels aren't exactly too bad, but then you look at what you're dealing with all the staining and things on it, the finished result is actually, it's quite acceptable really. It doesn't shout too much, it's not too high a gloss level. So there we go. As you can see, we have now removed all of that nasty staining that was on the top of the roof rail here, and this has been quite a simple process. Like we say, I've just used Roots Blue little pad for the Ibid Nano, and I've used Menzerna FG, so that gives us a nice fast cut and a fast gloss, and you get a really nice subtle, more gloss level than there is normally on the standard trims, but it's much better than the horrible staining that we had before. There we go. Just a further sort of view for you, just to show you what can be achieved. If you remember, this panel here was, or this trim section here was absolutely ruined earlier on, and as you can see, we've managed to restore it. The same with all the trims, roof rails, and this is all after obviously we have done our final pass over. So we've managed to remove all the nastiness off of the trim sections to give them a nice sort of sheen again, if you like. So there we go. So now it's just to wipe them down, coat them with ceramic, and then obviously we attach the door mirrors. Thanks for watching, guys.